Have you ever felt like you're surrounded by people, yet somehow still completely invisible? You're physically present, but it's as if no one really sees you. For many people, this feeling goes beyond just being shy or socially awkward. It's something much deeper, rooted in the way they experience the world. Research shows that some individuals who struggle to make and keep lasting friendships often share hidden psychological traits that shape how they interact with others and how others interact with them. Loneliness isn't just an emotional state. It actually changes how our brain processes social interactions. Studies have found that chronic loneliness can lead to unique brain activity patterns, which affect how people interpret social cues and communicate with others. Neuroscientists have shown that the brains of lonely individuals can perceive the world in a very different way, impacting how they form relationships and connect emotionally. So, what is it that makes it so difficult for some people to form meaningful, lasting connections? What hidden traits are preventing them from finding their place in the social world? In this video, we'll uncover 12 hidden traits of people who have no friends. These aren't flaws, but deeply ingrained patterns of thought and behavior that develop over time, often as a result of past experiences or emotional self-protection mechanisms. Have you ever found yourself wondering, why do I feel so disconnected? Or, what's wrong with me? If so, know that you're not alone. Many of us have gone through that feeling of being lost or distant, like we don't quite fit in. It's not because there's something inherently wrong with you, it's just part of a bigger emotional journey that we all experience at some point. It's not about changing who you are, but understanding why you feel the way you do and learning how to heal from the inside. Imagine, just for a moment, uncovering the reasons behind this sense of disconnection. What if you could understand the hidden traits that have been silently influencing your ability to connect with others? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Keep watching and we'll take this journey together, helping you understand yourself more deeply, build better relationships, and finally find the meaningful connections you've been searching for. It's time to stop feeling invisible and start being truly seen. If you've ever felt disconnected or invisible, know that you're not alone. Many people feel this way, and it's not because there's something wrong with them. In fact, there's a reason behind it. Research tells us that our brains are wired to seek connection. But when that connection is broken or never really formed, our brains react in surprising ways. Dr. John Cacioppo, a leading psychologist in the study of loneliness, discovered that loneliness can affect us much more deeply than we think. It doesn't just hurt emotionally, it actually causes physical changes in the brain, activating the same areas associated with pain. The longer you experience loneliness, the more it shapes how your brain processes the world around you. Here's where it gets interesting. Just because these patterns have been shaped by past experiences doesn't mean they're permanent. The good news is, you can change them. Understanding why you feel the way you do is the first step toward healing. Many people who struggle with lasting friendships have learnt to rely on emotional self-sufficiency or distance themselves to protect their feelings. These coping mechanisms might have helped in the past, but over time, they can become walls that make it harder to truly connect with others. Now imagine this. What if you didn't have to feel so guarded? What if instead of pushing people away, you allowed yourself to trust again? Neuroscientific research has shown us that the brain is flexible. It can change and grow, no matter how old you are. This means that even if you've felt isolated for a long time, it's possible to rewire your brain and start building meaningful connections again. Small, intentional acts of connecting with others can actually reshape the way your brain processes relationships. The truth is, change is possible. And it begins with understanding yourself. By recognizing the hidden traits that have been holding you back, you can start to break down those walls. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about understanding why you feel the way you do and taking the first step toward healthier, more meaningful connections. Let's take a closer look at these traits and see how we can start making small shifts that lead to big changes in how we connect with the world around us. Many people who find themselves without close friendships often struggle with certain hidden traits that affect their ability to connect with others. These traits aren't flaws, but rather coping mechanisms and emotional patterns developed over time, often due to past experiences or self-protection. Understanding these hidden traits is the first step in breaking the cycle of isolation and moving toward deeper, more meaningful relationships. Let's take a closer look at these traits and see how they might be affecting your ability to form connections. 1. Hyper self-awareness. You may find yourself overanalyzing every social interaction, replaying conversations and obsessing over every word or gesture, worried about how you are perceived. This can create a sense of tension that makes it hard to relax and form connections. Studies show that this kind of self-monitoring can increase anxiety, making it harder to engage with others authentically. 2. Fear of rejection. A deep fear of rejection may be preventing you from building lasting relationships. Past experiences of rejection often leave emotional scars that make it harder to trust people. Dr. John Cassiope's research shows that the brain processes rejection similarly to physical pain, making it difficult to take emotional risks and connect with others. 3. Emotional self-reliance. You tend to handle your emotional struggles alone, believing that relying on others is a sign of weakness. While this helps you cope in the short term, it can prevent you from forming deep emotional connections with others. Research has shown that relying solely on yourself for emotional regulation can isolate you and prevent you from engaging fully with others. 4. Low tolerance for inauthenticity. You can quickly sense when people are being fake or disingenuous. You might find it hard to engage in conversations that feel superficial or performative. Studies suggest that people with high emotional intelligence can often detect deceit, but struggle to connect with others who aren't being authentic, which can lead to feelings of isolation. 5. Difficulty with vulnerability. Opening up and being vulnerable might feel too risky for you. The fear of being judged or misunderstood keeps you from expressing your true feelings. Dr. Brené Brown's research highlights that vulnerability is key to forming deep, meaningful relationships. Without it, emotional intimacy is difficult to establish. 6. High standards for relationships. You likely have high expectations for the friendships you form, looking for depth and authenticity rather than casual connections. While this is a positive trait, it can sometimes leave you feeling disappointed when others don't meet your standards. Research has shown that individuals with high standards in relationships often struggle to maintain friendships due to the unrealistic expectations they place on others. 7. Social exhaustion. Socializing often drains you emotionally, and even simple interactions can feel overwhelming. After social events, you may feel the need to retreat and recharge. Research shows that introverts or those prone to social exhaustion may avoid socializing as a way to manage their energy levels, which can increase isolation. 8. Fear of being misunderstood. You may worry that others won't understand you, making it hard to express yourself. This fear can prevent you from opening up, leading to feelings of disconnection. The University of Chicago found that feeling misunderstood can reduce your sense of belonging, further isolating you from others. 9. Of trauma. Past experiences like betrayal or abandonment can make it hard for you to trust others. These wounds create a barrier that makes it difficult to open up to new people. Dr. Judith Herman's research shows that trauma can cause emotional withdrawal as a protective mechanism, preventing you from forming new relationships. 10. Social disinterest. You might seem uninterested in socializing, not because you don't care, but because socializing can feel emotionally taxing. A study from the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology shows that people with social anxiety often withdraw from social situations to avoid discomfort, which can lead to greater isolation. 11. Alexithymia. You may find it difficult to identify and express your emotions, making it hard for others to connect with you. Alexithymia, a condition in which people struggle to recognize and articulate their feelings, is linked to emotional isolation and a lack of close friendships. 12. Independence over compromise. You might place a high value on your independence and resist compromise in relationships. Having learned to rely on yourself, you may find it hard to make space for others in your life. The Journal of Personality found that individuals who resist compromise in relationships struggle to form the emotional bonds needed for lasting friendships. These 12 hidden traits are often protective mechanisms developed over time due to past experiences and emotional pain. By understanding them, you can begin to break down the walls that prevent meaningful connections and start rebuilding the ability to connect with others. Healing starts with self-awareness, and it's never too late to begin transforming these patterns into opportunities for growth and deeper relationships. Now that we've explored the 12 hidden traits that may be affecting your ability to connect with others, it's important to understand where these patterns come from and how you can start breaking free. These traits didn't form overnight. They are deeply connected to past experiences, many of which involve emotional pain, rejection, or disappointment. Over time, these traits became protective mechanisms designed to help you avoid further hurt. However, while they protected you in the short term, they've also created barriers to meaningful connections with others. The first step in breaking free from these patterns is understanding that these traits are coping mechanisms. They were developed as a response to emotional wounds. For instance, if you've been hurt or rejected in the past, your brain creates these patterns to protect you from experiencing that pain again. This is where traits like emotional self-reliance and fear of vulnerability come from. They act as emotional shields, making it harder to get close to others. But the problem is that these protective traits, while keeping you safe from pain, also isolate you, preventing you from experiencing the very connection that could heal those wounds. A key step to changing these patterns is learning to embrace vulnerability. I know this can be intimidating, especially if you've been hurt in the past. But vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you show the world your true self, and this encourages others to do the same. Dr. Brené Brown, an expert on vulnerability, has shown through her research that the most connected people are often the ones who are willing to be seen, flaws and all. Vulnerability fosters trust and creates deeper, more authentic relationships. You don't have to dive into your deepest feelings right away, but gradually sharing small pieces of yourself can create real, lasting connections. Another crucial step is practicing self-compassion. Many people who struggle to connect with others are often extremely hard on themselves. They internalize the belief that something is wrong with them because they don't have close friends or find socializing difficult. But self-compassion, as research from Dr. Kristin Neff suggests, is the key to opening up emotional space for yourself and others. When you show kindness to yourself, you make it easier to connect with others because you're no longer held back by harsh self-criticism. You begin to accept your flaws, and this acceptance opens the door to forming more meaningful, authentic connections. Changing these patterns takes time. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and you don't need to rush it. Small, consistent steps toward embracing vulnerability, practicing self-compassion, and letting go of past emotional wounds will help you begin to break down the walls that have kept you isolated. As neuroscientific research shows, the brain is plastic, meaning it can change and adapt with new experiences. By practicing small, intentional changes, you can slowly rewrite these patterns and create a more connected, fulfilling life. It's important to remember that this journey isn't about reaching perfection right away. It's about making progress, even if that progress feels small at first. Think of it like taking one step at a time, no matter how slow it may seem. Be patient with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. But over time, with a little patience and commitment, you'll break free from that feeling of isolation. You'll start building the deep, meaningful connections you've been longing for. All it takes is one small step today, just one, and you'll see how it slowly begins to change the way you connect with others. Trust the process. Now, let's talk about the next chapter of this journey, reconnecting, not just with others, but with yourself. Healing from the isolation you felt doesn't mean forcing yourself to become someone you're not, or suddenly becoming the life of the party. It's about taking your time to remember what real connection feels like, starting from within. You don't need to dive into deep conversations or make a bunch of new friends immediately. Instead, it's about taking it slow, letting yourself feel and rediscover what it means to truly connect, and then letting that feeling grow outward, bit by bit. The first connection you need to rebuild is the one with yourself. When you spent years protecting your heart, you may have lost touch with your own emotions. Take time to listen to what's going on inside your thoughts, your needs, your feelings. Psychologists often emphasize emotional attunement, which means being aware of your own inner world before trying to understand someone else's. As Dr. Daniel Goleman, the author of Emotional Intelligence, explains, self-awareness is the foundation of all emotional connection. When you can recognize your emotions, you can respond to others with empathy rather than fear. Once you reconnect with yourself, start building small, genuine moments of connection with others. This doesn't mean seeking popularity or large social circles. It means creating quality over quantity. Studies from Harvard's study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness, found that the single strongest predictor of lifelong well-being isn't wealth or status, but meaningful relationships. Even having one person you can trust and share your true self with can make a huge difference to your emotional health. Remember, it's not about being perfect in social situations. It's about being present. Send that message. Smile at someone. Start a small conversation, even if it feels awkward. Over time, these small acts of connection retrain your brain to associate social interaction with safety rather than fear. Your brain learns that connection is healing, not threatening. And that's where transformation truly begins. You don't have to rush this process. Healing and reconnection happen one step, one genuine moment at a time. Be patient with yourself and allow space for progress. Every small step you take is proof that you're learning to connect again, first with yourself and then with the world. Remember, healing and building meaningful connections is a journey, not a race. It starts with understanding yourself and making small, consistent changes. Every step you take towards vulnerability, self-compassion, and emotional growth is a step toward creating the life and relationships you deserve. If you're ready to take that first step, start today. Reflect, connect, and be patient with yourself. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from this journey too. You're not alone.